How is everybody doing? This is Justin Simpers with another edition of How to Make More Money. You know, I know that's really what it's all about, but for me, it's more of a holistic approach on how we can improve ourselves to make more money and obtain the grit that you need to do so. Today, I'm going to share about my childhood briefly, and how I think that impacted me, and basically today's video is really about fearlessness when it comes to establishing new relationships. So, when I was a child, I was actually born at Fort Stewart, Savannah, Georgia. Thanks to all that served. I was an Army brat, and my mother and my father divorced when I was 3, and the interesting thing is I ended up living with my dad full time. So I was at so many different Army bases. By the time I relocated here when I was 5 to California, I probably moved more times than people do in their lifetime by the time I was 5. My dad was constantly being shifted in where he was at. We were in Maryland, we were in Georgia, Alabama, and just a bunch of different places. So the one thing that I had that was super consistent when I was a kid was I had to establish new friendships. Now, obviously, my dad was working a lot, and I needed to, establish some sort of, connection, right? And so every time that we would move, I would have to find new friends. And I wasn't a patient person that would let them come to me. I was more like, I want to be your friend. I want to be your friend. And I think there's something to look back and say that is actually, the innocence of a child and so forth and so on. And, I honestly think that I was fearless when it came to that. And for whatever reason, as I got older, those fears set in, and that natural ability for me to connect with people became inhibited by my own limitations in my mind. So I'll never forget, I can't even remember their names, but my dad does. I remember in the back of the station wagon, waving goodbye, moving once again when I was probably 4, and I was waving goodbye to my very best friends, knowing that I would never see them again. And as a 4-year-old experiencing that did something to me. And anyway, moved to the next town, and I started all over, right? And then 8 or 9 months later, moved again, and we relocated from, the South to Southern California. I ended up in a school where I was actually the only Caucasian boy in the school. It was quite a different situation for me. But nonetheless, I prevailed and established a friendship. And, it must have been interesting for everybody seeing, this boy come into school and say, "How y'all doing today?" Anyway, I had a very deep accent and people could hardly understand me. I will acquire that accent when I go visit family. But what I'm talking about here is having the grit to go out and make it happen on a daily basis. Picking up the phone when you don't want to, and establishing relationships, because it's natural. It's a natural human element to want to be in fellowship with other people. And what a better industry to be in than in sales to make that happen. And if you can transition and eliminate all of the fear that the world has bestowed upon your mind to connect with another human being on something that you believe in, then you can make it happen on a daily basis. I think about that a lot growing up. Gosh, I wish I could just be like I was when I was a kid, fearless and determined to establish a new connection. And I did it so often and so many times that I was a master for a kid, right? but it did transition into my professional career. Anyway, get rid of the roadblocks that you have in your head that the world has put in your mind, and remember and resort back to those days of innocence, of fearless grit, determination for human connection. Go out there, make it happen, go get some loans, go get some deals, go sell some stuff. Thanks, guys. Have a nice day.